If you followed Cobra Kai, you already know the show doesn't just bring back old characters for nostalgia, it powers them up big time. Almost every major figure from the Karate Kid movies returns, and their strength, skills, and purpose all get a serious upgrade. Whether it's Daniel LaRusso rediscovering balance, Johnny Lawrence transforming into a world champ, or Terry Silver going full Bond villain with a karate twist, the power scale has shifted a lot since the original movies. So, how do all these returning characters rank now in terms of fighting strength and impact? Let's go deep into every fighter's journey and power growth. Back in the 1980s, Daniel LaRusso was just a scrappy teen learning karate to defend himself. With Mr. Miyagi as his mentor, he started off beating Johnny Lawrence in The Karate Kid, and went on to survive tougher challenges like Chozen in Okinawa, and Mike Barnes in a brutal tournament face-off. But Daniel was never really about brute strength. He was about timing, technique, and staying calm. That said, even he had to evolve by the time Cobra Kai rolled around because the game had changed and so had his enemies. Johnny Lawrence made his return in Cobra Kai as a washed-up handyman, but he had one thing going for him: his old-school Cobra Kai instincts. Strike first, strike hard, no mercy. At first, that only got him so far, and it often landed him in trouble. But as the show progressed, Johnny matured. He added heart to his technique and realized that fighting wasn't just about anger or pride. He trained students, formed alliances, and fought for a bigger cause. By the final season, Johnny had more than just fists. He had purpose and wisdom. That combo made him a legitimate top-tier fighter and leader. Chozen was once a deadly enemy from The Karate Kid Part 2, known for his ruthlessness and need for honor. He was the first villain Daniel fought to the death. But years later, when Daniel meets him again in Okinawa, Chozen is a changed man. He's calm, disciplined, and more dangerous than ever. He teaches Daniel some next-level techniques, including pressure point strikes that can paralyze limbs temporarily. Chozen doesn't fight to dominate anymore. But when he does step in, like during the showdown with Terry Silver, it's clear he's become one of the deadliest fighters in the entire franchise. He fights smart, clean, and precise. That's power. Mike Barnes is another ghost from Daniel's past, reintroduced in Cobra Kai. Once known as the bad boy of karate, Mike was all rage and raw skill in The Karate Kid Part 3. But when we catch up with him decades later, he's running a furniture store and trying to live a peaceful life. Still, when Terry Silver burns down his business and pulls him back into the fight, Mike taps into his old skills. He's not quite as brutal as he once was, but he's still a solid fighter. He even stands toe-to-toe with Chozen for a bit. Unfortunately, without his old edge, he doesn't rank quite as high anymore. John Kreese, the founder of the original Cobra Kai dojo, remains one of the most fearsome characters in the series. Though older and not as physically dominant, Kreese uses fear, strategy, and psychological warfare to his advantage. He's always several moves ahead, using mind games and manipulation to throw his enemies off. Even though Daniel eventually beats him in Cobra Kai Season 3, Kreese's impact on the story and his ability to push others past their limits can't be ignored. He may not win every fight anymore, but he still knows how to make fighters break mentally. Terry Silver, however, takes things to a whole new level. In The Karate Kid Part 3, he was already a maniac with too much money and a sadistic sense of fun. In Cobra Kai, he returns as an even more unhinged version of himself, richer, sneakier, and more dangerous. He basically becomes the final boss of the series. With endless financial resources, a network of violent senseis, and an army of students trained in no-mercy techniques, Silver goes full-on evil. He even gets Cobra Kai into the global Sekai Takai tournament. His skills as a fighter are still strong, although not unbeatable. He loses to Chozen in a knife fight and is eventually taken down. Still, his power isn't just in his fists. It's in how he spreads fear and chaos. But at the center of it all remains Daniel LaRusso. He starts off the Cobra Kai series sticking to Mr. Miyagi's peaceful philosophy, but eventually realizes that to truly stand against Cobra Kai's evolving tactics, he needs to change. He learns from Chozen, adapts new styles, and grows beyond just defense. He fights Terry Silver in the series finale and defeats him in front of everyone, proving that wisdom plus skill can still beat money and brute force. What's impressive about Daniel is not just his strength, but how he stays grounded and never loses his calm. That gives him an edge, especially against enemies who let their anger control them. And finally, there's Johnny Lawrence. He arguably grows the most out of everyone. He goes from being a broken man clinging to the past to becoming a father figure, mentor, and ultimately a champion. While he doesn't win every one-on-one fight, he earns the title of Sekai Takai World Champion, something that carries massive weight in the karate world. His students respect him, and even Daniel eventually acknowledges him as an equal. Johnny may not have secret techniques or massive wealth, but he's got grit, heart, and leadership. That's what makes him the top dog by the end. When you break it all down, the Cobra Kai series didn't just revisit old heroes and villains. It remixed them. It gave everyone new strengths, new weaknesses, and a chance at redemption. Chozen transformed from a deadly enemy to a wise mentor. Johnny found his confidence and purpose. Daniel evolved beyond his comfort zone. Even villains like Mike Barnes and Kreese got some level of closure. And Terry Silver proved what happens when power goes unchecked. Every character grew, fought harder, and became more than what they once were. So, how do they all rank in terms of power now that we've seen their full arcs? Here's the simplified power order based on fighting ability, growth, influence, and overall impact. Johnny Lawrence, now a world champion and fully evolved fighter. Chozen's secret techniques and pure discipline make him a near unstoppable force. Daniel LaRusso, still the calmest, smartest fighter around. Terry Silver, dangerous because of money, skill, and sheer ruthlessness. John Kreese, strategic and scary but slowing down. Mike Barnes, strong but missing the edge that made him terrifying. The Cobra Kai revival didn't just update the franchise, it upgraded it. And through all the punches, kicks, and dramatic showdowns, it gave fans something truly special. A story where every character could come back stronger.